This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so today is Tuesday, May 7th, and as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. All right, so let's talk about what we got going on this morning. I'm not a huge fan by any means of pretty much anything that I've seen going on out there yet. So let's talk about Blinn, BLIN. I understand that it did jump up a whole lot coming in there, but I've been watching it for most of the morning, and I haven't seen anything there that you really would have been able to make any type of trade, any type of high probability trades off of it. You got to understand a stock like this, I'm going to need to see more than I would need to in anything else. I know you guys were talking about float before, and yes, it takes such a little amount to make this thing move a huge amount. So you have to understand that when we're looking for prints, we right now have no controlling prints. And without any type of controlling prints, you're basically just taking a guess on this. And as you can see, I mean, in 1 second, this stock will drop $1 on you, okay? Literally instantaneously. So it's so important for us to, to find some type of controlling prints and really get that definitive show of hand of where the stock is going to be going. We do not have that by any means, not anywhere that I have seen so far yet. So I'm going to keep it on our list because it's got 1.1 million shares being traded already. It's made a huge move. It fits all the criteria. It just really doesn't have anything yet. And until that happens, we're not going to be able to make any type of trade on it. And really the only other thing that I'm looking at this morning, and we're going to go over the scanners, there's a few things that we could kind of reach a little bit with. But one of the only other things is that we look over at BABA, the beautiful show of hand this morning at 816. So if we look right here, you can see 186.75, and we're still right around the exact area of where these prints are. So it hasn't really moved anywhere yet. So 186.75 definitely have a huge arrow to the downside on that one. We're going to be expecting it to pull up a little bit more than it has. I mean, don't get me wrong. If we go back over to here at 811 when it actually started to move, here we go, right about 816, excuse me. So we go right to here about 816 when it actually started to move. You can see it did pull up a little bit, but not really as much as we would have expected it to off of that many. But now keep in mind as well that because it was at the minor that we don't need it to as much as we would like to, as much as we normally would look for. But I'm just not really sold on it yet. It has a great setup sitting there with that double bottom coming down right underneath that 186 level because it's going to start to act as a magnet as we come back in there. But that's really the only other thing that I see that's showing us really anything of what it's going to be doing once the market does come to that open. Keep in mind, though, 816, that's early in the pre-market. Remember, early in the pre-market, a lot of times takes a lot longer for it to happen once the market does open. How should we react to Lyft puts or calls for Uber's IPO on Friday? I would, first of all, in no way whatsoever would I link the two yet because you don't have any data yet. So there's no data whatsoever on Uber. We have no idea what's going to happen. So you can't judge what Lyft is going to do based off of Uber coming out. I mean, Lyft, more than likely you'll get a sympathy move within Lyft, but there's nothing to say that's going to happen. So I wouldn't really look at it in that way. Let's see, Apple. We'll go over Apple. I mean, Apple's actually is moving a little bit. We'll go over that in a little bit. So MNK, that's another one that we did have a few ask prints at 16, but nothing really special. I mean, with such a cheap stock, it's just there's just not really much out there. You can see this morning we got a little bit underneath that 18. You had a few bid prints that came in at 18. It's very mixed. So MNK, even though right there, it's just it's garbage pretty much. There's just not really much there. We are reaching a little bit this morning, but we'll keep an eye on it. It's just there's really nothing in there yet that I would be basing any decisions off of yet. Let's take a look. The price target explanation. I'm not sure what you mean, Tyler. You mean, that's Traders Exchange this afternoon, 12:30. Okay, our meetings are for stocks, not for I mean, I do lessons every once in a while, but our lessons for the questions are always going to be Tuesdays at 12:30 during Traders Exchange. All right, let's take a look at our scanners. Let's see if we have anything else, anything special that's came up, which I hope, but all right, so we got AKRX. So it's got beautiful volume. It is holding fairly well, but we can see it's already going into kind of a quant mode. And even, it's just not getting any type of real continued volume that we've seen there. I'm going to put this on a side list because I do want to keep an eye on it. It definitely could move, but there's just, based off of what we see in AKRX, we have seen it move before, but as of right now, we just don't have enough variables that are coming into it. Okay, moving over to AKTS, 182,000, but nothing there. OSMT, 984,000, which if we could short it, it would look pretty decent because we do have those bid prints, but there's nothing for me to put this on for because of the fact that, look, from 475 down to 450, we've got nothing but selling. So unfortunately cannot short it. There's just not really anything that I care, to really look at. We will see better things once the market opens. DF, absolutely nothing. MBRX, we've seen move before, but again, just very quantity, nothing really going over it. Oh, even the stocks that have, any type of real volume, any type of, anything over 100,000 shares just aren't really showing anything. There's just not much. And then we have SOXS, which 110,000, but again, no real trading that's going on within them. Moving along over to our loser side of things, we have CPRX, 1 million shares, but just not really much there. Now, we did get some decent bursts. You could see coming in here 360 and then a decent burst at 370. It's another one I will put on our side list, just because with those cheaper stocks, I mean, when they really do move, we could see these things fly, but just not really anything. Once again, that sticks out. It's just way too consolidated, just not really much there whatsoever. Moving along, XENT, 523,000 shares, just nada, nothing. I mean, it's just kind of floating around, nothing there. DNR, OVID, absolutely nothing. IAG, 581, but another one, just nothing. I mean, there's just not really anything. We got some good volume out there and a lot of different things. It's just there's not any type of real trading going on from that volume that we saw. All right, now I have a list of things. So guys, remember that what we went over yesterday in SQ, it hasn't changed. Look at SQ, look at what went over, same story. Nothing has changed whatsoever this morning. So it's exactly what we talked about yesterday, for basically the entire afternoon. We have to come underneath that 68 level where we had that buying that never got pulled back from. We know we had riders come in at that 70 level. On that bid side, going to be looking for it to come under 68 before I would ever think about looking for it towards that upside. Next, let's see, what else do we got up in here? Apple, Apple, same deal. I mean, we have those bid prints that we had at 205 yesterday. It jumped up from there. It just needs a show of hand right now. Apple, it's just kind of all over the place this morning. But as you can see, coming over to the prints, we have one bid print at 207, which is not anything for us to even look at. And the rest of the prints, just absolutely nothing. I was looking at before. I know it's the second on the volume, but I just don't see anything there that I like. You see how it's already trading so consolidated, and we're not really getting any type of smooth move, any type of real release that's coming off of it. So when we see that during the pre-market, a lot of the times that's what ends up carrying over into the beginning of the market. So you end up watching it, and you end up getting some good prints, but it stays in that consolidation and never really gets that trigger to be able to break out of that consolidation. Yeah, as of right now, I just don't see anything in it. There's nothing that I like. There's nothing that would even make me want to pay attention to it yet from what we see going on to this morning. I mean, it's got, don't get me wrong, it's got 1.9 million shares. It's got great volume. It's, it moves $1 on average. So you would expect it to move a little bit over $1 today. Well, a lot over $1 today, considering the fact on average it trades 1.5 million shares, and we're already over that. So you'd be over $1. So it's got all the variables. It just doesn't have any of the trading going on, just nothing that I can get behind yet. And then other than that, guys, looking around, it's just, it's like Natasha said, patience. We're going to have to be patient coming into the beginning of the market. The trades are going to come up. There's nothing that we have to rush. There's nothing that we have to force. The trades will be there. It's just a matter of waiting for them to come into fruition and waiting for the right high probability trade to be there. Just because just because Apple is Apple does not mean I'm going to trade it unless it gives us that high probability trade. And that's the number one thing that we're going to be, the main focus of today's classes. So our level 1, level 1 lesson 1 and level 1 lesson 2 classes are going to be on setups. Okay, and what we're going to be going over classes and teach you guys not only how to look at, how to trade setups, but how to look at a stock and just by looking at it, be able to tell, is there a probability of being able to anticipate a high probability trade? We're going to get real advanced real early in in this next round. All right, guys. All right, so that is it for me. I will be sending, like I said, I'll be sending out the email to all of those for the class very shortly, within the next 15 minutes or so, and we will be beginning at 10 a.m. I'll see everyone else in the chat room, and happy trading.